So guest, transition. All right, and we should be live. Let me go check on the YouTube channel. We are live. Okay, so we are having some technical difficulties with the window capture. We'll mess around with that later. It might, like you said, have something to do with the update for OBS. I guess we'll see. But so for right now, I just have your beautiful picture of Back to Black Ops 3, and it's horribly, horribly stretched because it's supposed to be a thumbnail. So you're welcome. You're welcome for that one. All right. So let's. Obviously, we have some topics. Nothing fantastic, but topics. So first of all, I have your social media stuff at Chad Moreton on Twitter, _, correct on that one? I think it was _ on. Well, if you can't find him because of the _, try just a single _. And then Chad Moreton on Instagram. So I have that underneath your picture. And is there anything you'd like to say? Is there anything? Is
That's about it. I do YouTube videos on gaming mainly. I'm trying to start taking some other videos and doing some other stuff, but I'm not sure yet. But that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Lately, it's been kind of. No, I don't think your audio's showing up. Oh, you're killing me. This is... And it's not your fault. Don't worry. It's not your fault because I should have made sure you knew it was tonight. Give me just one sec. Yeah, because you should be on this. Wow, this is just... It is not my night. Audio output. See, that's one of the things I don't like about... All right, talk really quick.
Yo, check.
All right, there we go. I'll bring you down a little bit. Go ahead and talk really quick.
All right. Sorry, I was leaning into the mic a little bit too.
No, you're good. Right there, I think it's about good. So now
Yeah,
now your audio is good. I don't know why I didn't want to work the first 2 times I clicked it, but whatever. OBS is great. All right, so is there anything you'd like to say about your channel, Chad?
Not really. I just like to play some video games and stream them every once in a while, and I'm gonna try to start taking some, DIY. I can do some woodwork and build a lot of stuff, so I might start doing that. I can also play guitar, so I might start doing some more of that, but I'm not sure yet.
How long you played guitar for?
14 years.
Really? I don't know if you saw the burnout video. I actually talked about I tried to learn to play guitar and I got good at it and I ended up burning myself out on it. So
Yeah, I did see that.
I do know how to play guitar. I just don't play guitar anymore. So that was
Really?
yeah. It just yeah, it was a lot of spare time spent trying to learn that, and that was fun. And then eventually, like I said, I just burned myself out on it.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Oh yeah, it's
You'll hit a wall and stop progressing, and then it's just game over.
exactly. All right, so I know you see we have a couple topics. So the first one, obviously, with Red Ripper coming up, and I'm sure you did a little bit of looking. We don't really know too much about it yet, except that it is the 16-core version of pretty much Ryzen. So pretty much, so what it sounds like is two 1800Xs just slammed together, and that's your new processor. Do you think Intel is going to have a run for their money with Threadripper?
I'm not sure. I feel like AMD here lately, they're a lot of talk, but it's not as good as they think it is going to be. But you can't blame them for doing that, and I'm all for it because competition makes everything better.
See, and that's how I look at it. Is competition is competition. If Intel rules the roost, it's kind of we're gonna get jacked up prices. I mean, as you can see, we already have jacked up prices.
Right.
When AMD is able to, and I'm not gonna say that Ryzen is fantastic, but it's if I didn't already have an Intel system, I definitely, and especially after the recent updates with the BIOS updates, the performance has increased enough to the point where if I didn't already have my 7700, I might consider going with the Ryzen chip.
Yeah.
The 7700 with its overheating problems kind of ticks me off, especially after looking into what they did to cause that, because it is cheap thermal paste or thermal interface material. And that is pretty much what's causing the problems. They don't want to solder the die onto the IHS. So, yeah. And I mean, I don't have a ton of... The first time I noticed it was, obviously I came home from getting my 7700K, and I was like, you know what? I am going to try overclocking. And any amount of overclocking, and that thing turned into an oven. It was terrible. So...
Really?
Yeah, it was... And it's a great processor. At stock speeds, don't get me wrong, it's a great processor. But when I hear about people with like custom loops and stuff able to get 5 gigahertz easy and even like high-end air coolers, I'm like, of course I'm going to try that. But it yeah, not quite.
Yeah.
I am excited to see the higher-end AMD stuff just to see kind of where what its price range is, mainly because I hate to see where the Intel CPUs, they're up in like over $1,000, up to like $1,600, $1,700. That's crazy to me. If they come out swinging at 16 cores for like $700, I think they've seriously got something that will give Intel some competition.
Yeah, they sure would. That's a given.
Well, and that
would be a good price.
Right now, that's kind of, it seems like their game is we're basically gonna go as low as we possibly can and just see what we can do. So yeah. But that's kind of where AMD has always lived, is they've always been known as like the budget. Because with Intel, even an i5 is what, $230, $240?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the 7600.
Yep, the 7600 is $240, and the 6600K is, I believe it's now like $200.
Yeah,
200?
They haven't dropped much.
No, and honestly, they're not going to. Especially, so really, the only time you're gonna see them drop is when either they're trying to clear out stock or if you see them used. That's pretty much, as long as Intel thinks they are relevant, they're not really going to drop that much.
Yeah, that 1800X is kind of the go-to thing right now in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
that's what I'm working for.
Well, because you got to think about it. If you're looking at a 7700K, except for when I bought mine, I bought it because Ryzen had just came out and it wasn't really performing terrifically.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like you look at it and it's like, okay, unless you're getting it from Micro Center, you're paying about $330, maybe a little bit more depending on where you get it from. So for that one extra $170, depending on what you're doing, you are getting, instead of 4 cores, 8 threads, you're getting 8 cores, 16 threads. And that really does make a difference for if you're doing, I mean, you can dedicate cores just to streaming, just to virtual machines and stuff like that. And I think that's where the 1800X really shines, is just that massive amounts of cores for less than $200 more than 77.
Yep.
So
hopefully it turns out good.
Well, and then the next topic is, do you think NVIDIA has anything to fear from AMD Vega? So, I know there's not a ton of stuff out about Vega. I wanted to ask you about this one just because of going off of kind of what happened with Ryzen, where everyone built it up, and I think that might be actually part of AMD's problem is the hype train, because if they played their cards right and they didn't overhype it, and then it turned out to be at least what people expected, I feel like there wouldn't be so much of that. Oh no, it failed. It failed. Nope, it failed.
Yeah.
And I mean it, because that's always been AMD's game, has been, we are going to, because, and honestly, my first system was a 6300 or an FX 6300 and a R9 390 from Sapphire. So I had all AMD hardware, and I loved that thing. And the thing I've noticed about AMD fans are they are not quiet. Like they are definitely
They run hot. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, but they are loud and proud. That's the thing about AMD fans.
Yep.
So
yep, I've got a 480, and I'm running the 1060 now. But the 480 was an 8 gig, and it didn't run as good as I've got a 3 gig 1060, and it runs way better.
Really?
So yeah.
Which 10 or 480 did you get? Just questioning.
It's actually the Best Buy XFX.
Really?
Brand?
Is it the single style, or is it the blower style, or is it the dual fan?
No, it's the dual fan and with the interchangeable fans.
Yep. It's the the GT or whatever it is.
I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That is the one thing that I can always I know my GPU hardware, at least most of the time.
Yeah.
But I actually was looking at because I have the wife's project coming up, the Project Lotus, and pretty much we're at the finishing stages of that, and then I'm going to be able to make the video. But I was looking at either a 480 or the 1060, and honestly, for me, the 1060 just went out because of the card I was able to get. Because of that, I'll actually put it on the stream. Because there's not a ton of low-end white GPUs, and that's the problem.
Is it I'm waiting on the stream to see it.
Hold on one sec. I'm just about to put it up.
Okay.
No, you're good. Image.
I think it's
the Asus card.
It's white Asus. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and it's one of.
I think I saw it on a Frankie on PC video.
When it's one of the only. Oop! I just grabbed my my text. Oh no! There we go. Okay, we're good. But yeah, it was one of the only white cards that I could find. Because I mean, like Gigabyte's got the 1080 that's white and stuff like that. But I'm like, I am not putting a 1080 in the wife's build, and I really don't want to have to spray paint the. I don't really want to have to spray paint the graphics card. I already did a custom paint job on her Mobo and quite a bit of stuff on her case, and I'm actually going to be doing some glass etching on that too. But yeah, I really went all out for this, but it's like I didn't want to have to paint that graphics card. Asus, at least on the 1070 Strix and the 1080 and the 1080 Ti, I do know that there is a warranty sticker on it that says if you take the sticker off, so if you disassemble the card, your warranty is void. Where with most cards like from EVGA, taking them apart, especially for like water cooling and stuff, that's fine. But if you take the Asus card apart, that's it. You're done. So yeah, and I was actually looking because I want to do a custom loop coming up. I was looking at a 1080 or a 1080 Ti depending. And when I found out they don't approve of you taking the cooler off, I was like, well, that's not happening. I'm not gonna buy a almost $800 card and have it, if something happens that would normally be covered under warranty, just because I'm water cooling, they're not gonna cover it. That's not gonna happen. So
yeah,
but
yeah,
whatever.
That's probably a good plan.
Well, and it's just so many people are water cooling nowadays. The fact that you wouldn't support that by letting people disassemble the card just seems like you're limiting yourself.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking about switching over to full water cooled, but I'll be waiting until I get a 1080. So that's
Oh
my
yeah.
next step.
Oh yeah. Um, well, when I originally got my 1070, the plan was if I got the 1070, I wasn't gonna upgrade to a 1080 eventually. I was just gonna do SLI and then eventually water cool. But I'm like, okay, the 1080 Ti is so much more powerful now. I'm like, okay, if I end up doing another 1070, I'm already at quite a bit of money put into this plus water cooling. When if I'm like, okay, I'll just wait to water cool and just do my 1080 Ti now, because that the main panel I'm using is actually a 1440p 144 hertz monitor. That thing, like I said in the video, Witcher 3, I mean, that thing, it chugs. It's like 60, 65, 70 frames. And yeah, that's great if you have a 60 hertz panel.
Right.
But if you've got a 144 hertz panel, you're like, okay, I'm not using this to what I could be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's probably, yeah, that's what you need to be doing.
I don't know. I'm still
thinking the 1080 Ti.
I'm still thinking about it. It's kind of because everything is just so expensive, and it's like, because okay, well, I shouldn't say that because I'm looking at camera stuff more recently, and it's like if I think computer stuff's expensive, like lenses and bodies and stuff, they are little more expensive, just a wee bit. And I know you've actually been looking at camera stuff too. So
yeah.
What have you been looking at? The T6i, you said?
Yes, T6i. I just started looking 2 weeks ago, looking hard at it. I used to have I guess it's a T6. It wasn't an I.
Yep.
I know that.
Yep.
I had that. It might have even been a T5. It was a couple of years ago. I got rid of that.
And it didn't have the flip around screen, correct? Yeah, then it was. Yeah. So that's one of the big differences with the I series is that they have the flip around screen. I don't know. I haven't looked too much at them. I don't know if there's any other differences. I do know that the screen does not flip around. I've actually been looking at the ADD because, okay, so when I got my 3400, I knew so little about cameras. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had credit for a store, and I was like, okay, this is one of the only cameras they carry. And I looked it up, and I was like, okay, the video looks good enough, whatever. And got that, and I love my 3400. I mean, this thing has been like rock solid. Actually, I tipped it over on the tripod the other day, so I can literally say it's rock solid because it did not break. I will give it credit.
That's good.
But there's certain things that it doesn't do. So with the T6i, I know you can use a tablet as your actual like viewfinder. So
really, I didn't even know that. So that's awesome.
Because a lot of the Canon cameras actually have Wi-Fi built in, and they actually have an app that you can use that Wi-Fi to pretty much transmit the image that the camera is seeing into the tablet, which makes it obviously a lot easier to do. Like, so where I'm sitting, actually the camera goes way back by that air conditioner because this 50 millimeter lens, it with the crop factor on the camera, it's about, I believe it's 1.5, and it's crazy. It's so zoomed in that I have to set the camera way back there, which the lens looks amazing. But the problem is that with it way back there, I obviously have to worry about focus and all that stuff. And honestly, most of the time, I end up just focusing the camera to a random point, and then just moving my chair back and forth until I'm in focus. So it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you. But yeah, I think you really wouldn't go wrong with any Canon. Is really good for video. Canon is more known for video. Nikon's more known for photography. But
yeah, I think they have some autofocus issues like sound.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it.
Yep.
On the internal microphone.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't regret getting my D3400 because the wife actually does quite a bit of photography. She's got it's actually sitting up there on the shelf. It's a Nikon 1J4, I believe it is. And so hers is like a littler point and shoot. It's still got the changeable lenses, but it's not a full-size DSLR. And when I got my 3400, she was like, I want a camera like that. And I'm like, okay, well then we'll get you a camera like that. She's like, no, I don't want to spend that kind of money. But as soon as I told her, I was like, okay, I want this other camera because it does all of this other stuff. She's like, okay. She's like, I'll just take your old one. I'm like, all right, whatever. But camera bodies get expensive. Like the ADD, I believe it's pretty much peaking $1,000. I'm pretty sure. Oh, let me look really quick. Yeah. It's up there. But then you look at the stuff like the Lumix GH5, and that thing is $2,000.
Really?
Yeah, right. Okay,
that's crazy.
Right here, $1,099 for the ADD. Oh, but if you get the international version that doesn't have a warranty, you can actually get it for like $200 less. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's not bad. I guess. I mean,
well, and it's like you just kind of. I'm not looking at buying it anytime soon. I'm actually looking at upgrading to a new lens because honestly, so if you invest in a good lens, really your lens is going to carry, or it should carry through to the next camera and like the next couple cameras. I see lenses as more of like a permanent investment. So when I spent the 50mm lens was like $235 when I got it, which at the time I was like, okay, that's like a huge investment, but it will last me until either I drop it and the lens breaks or I don't need it anymore for video. So I mean it's kind of, I look at it now, the camera bodies, that's kind of the point where you're like, okay, how much do I really want to spend for something that eventually is going to be replaced? Which, I mean, but if you get something like the T6i, you'd be good. But how much is the T6i that you were looking at?
I was looking at Best Buy, and just because here in Arkansas, that's about all we have is a buy. So I think it was like $6.99.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing on Amazon too.
Yeah. And I think it came with an extra lens too, if I'm not mistaken.
See, the kit lenses, and that's, I don't have mine sitting here. The kit lenses are good for, so that's actually what I was using for most of my videos because I could set it right in front of me. And this is officially turned into like camera talk now. But the kit lens is good for general all around stuff until you figure out like what lens would fit best with what you're doing. And honestly, if I was out and about more, like if I used my camera, like you said, you're going to be doing a lot more stuff where you're not going to be in a room. The kit lens might be a better bet for you, because the only reason I got the 50mm was because I knew I was going to be in a room. I knew that it was going to be darker, and that wider aperture actually, it lets in so much more light that it was worth the money.
Yeah.
And it's so much more crisp. Okay, well, let's move on from camera talk. Oh, but if you ever want to talk cameras, believe me, anything hardware. What was that?
I was going to ask you about your webcam. So I think I saw you said you had a C920.
Yep, I got the C920. I'm actually going to be doing a video on that coming up. This thing is amazing. I don't know if it's worth the $100. Again, I had money that I had to use somewhere that there wasn't really anything else that I wanted, and I was like, okay, well, a new webcam would do great. So
yeah,
because this
I ended up.
What was that?
I was gonna say I ended up getting the C922 because I thought it was the new and latest greatest, but I didn't know. So I don't know.
I believe
I've had it since Christmas.
Yeah, I believe the C922 actually is newer. I believe it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, background replacement technology. Yeah, this is the newer one. I'm pretty sure the other thing that yours has over mine is.
I think it has 1080, 60.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure mine is 1080 30. Of course, it won't say. I'm actually gonna just assume it does only have 1080/30 because on yours when I went to it, it actually specifically was like 1080/60.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So yours has 1080/60. I'm almost positive mine only has 1080/30. Which actually now that I see, so I one of my big problems right now is my upload. So I'm actually only broadcasting at 720p 30. I think 720p 30 because my upload it'll be going fine and then all of a sudden it'll just take a shit and it's gone.
Yeah.
I've called Charter. I've asked them if there's any better plan. Do you want to know what the better plan they have in my area is?
What's that?
For the business internet, which you would think, okay, that should be amazing. I'm at 60 by 5 right now. They're like, okay, we'll upgrade you to 100. I'm like, okay, 100 down. I'm like, how much up? And they're like, 7 up. I'm like, okay, that's like nothing more. I mean, that'd be better, but not for like $20 more a month. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the plan above that? Oh, that's 300 down. I'm like, okay, this should be awesome. So like 20 up. And I'm like, how much is it up? And they're like, still 7. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, you can't give me triple the speed and then the same upload. Like, I don't see how this is supposed to work. And I told her, I was like, I'm looking for the highest upload I can get. And she's like, well, that's the highest upload we offer in your area. And I'm like, okay, well, how about Midland, like one county over? And she's like, well, we do have like fiber and stuff over there where it is like 100 by 20 and stuff like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm right here. It's
well, that's crazy. I always thought, down here we had worse internet, but I've got 150 up, or I mean down. Sorry, 150 down, 15 up.
I was gonna say 150 up. Wow, it's like you can just do anything. Like you could stream it like 4K.
I just upgraded like 2 weeks ago. I was having issues with my upload. It was like $5, and it was $5 more a month to upload.
See,
upgrade.
That's what I'm waiting for because I did get a letter in the mail a couple weeks ago. So I told you I'm 60 by 5 now. We were 60 by 4, and for some reason they thought it was necessary to send us a letter saying, for no extra cost, we're gonna bump you up 1 megabyte upload. I was like, okay, like that's cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, and I asked her, I was like, why'd you guys upgrade? She's like, well, we started to realize that the infrastructure could support it. And I'm like, maybe you guys should upgrade your infrastructure a little bit more so that we can do a little more than 7 upload. So,
yeah.
Well, because when I had AT&T, and I'm not complaining about Charter. Before Charter cuts my internet, I'm not complaining about Charter because exactly, I had AT&T before, and they had fiber. It wasn't fiber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what crack they were smoking, but they talked to me, and I was like, okay, and they were like, okay, it's gonna be 12 down and 4 up. I was like, 12 down. I was like, what? They're like, well, it's fiber, so the ping will be better. And I'm like, that's not how that works. I'm like, just because the ping is better and like, it's not gonna make it as fast as Charter's 60. And they're like, no, it really is. I'm like, okay, I'll try it for a couple months. Tried it, and I was like, this isn't happening. I was like, this is awful. It was like third world country internet. It really was. And I know somebody that's watching this is probably like, I have like 4 down and like 1 up, and I feel really bad for that person.
Yeah.
Anyways, are there, before we talk about the games, are there any games you are actually excited about coming up?
I've been a fan of Call of Duty for years, but
Yep.
these past couple of years have been terrible. So I'm really looking forward to this new one coming out. But I don't care about the supply drops and all that really because I just don't buy them. But I'm just looking forward to the World War II.
Yep.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't played a Call of Duty game since. I did play Black Ops 3 a little bit on PS4 when my wife got her PS4 because it came bundled with it, so I didn't really have a choice. It was gonna be in the house no matter what.
Hmm.
I played it competitively for a little while. It got boring within like a week. If I play a game competitively, it really has to capture my attention because I a good story is really what I want in a game. And honestly, I used to like the Call of Duty stories. I know I'm probably like one of three people, but
No, I
like
liked them too. I always played the campaign first, then I played multiplayer.
exactly. And it's just it. Yeah, they kind of went downhill after. I'd say Modern Warfare 3 was kind of the last really good. World at, World at War was good. Modern Warfare 3 was good. Modern Warfare 2 was good. I'd say Black Ops 2 was decent.
Yeah,
It
that's where
was
it started going down for me.
yeah, it wasn't amazing, and I think I only played a little bit of the multiplayer, but it wasn't terrible. Um, so I know I linked the article to the next game that I want to talk about. Did you take a look at that?
Yeah, I did. I just watched the is it Far Cry. So,
Yep. Um,
yep.
just that picture, I'm really curious on what they're going to do with this because what it looks like and what they're making it sound like is I don't know if you played Mafia 3, but the very like racial heavy tones in it. I'm almost hoping that this is I don't want to say something along those lines, but Mafia 3 shined in that it was kind of like kind of a shocking game. It was
Hmm.
like because that's actually what happened. I mean, like in Mafia 3, what you're playing through is kind of you're feeling like the oppression and stuff like that was actually around back in those times. And I'm kind of hoping that this has that same feeling like Outlast 2. I don't know if you've seen anybody play that yet.
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, that game, the what happens in that game is brutal, okay? But they're able to get away with it because obviously your character's against it. Um but I'm talking like children dying and stuff, okay? And I mean like that
Oh, okay.
like a couple years ago if you had said that that was going to be in a video game, it probably would have been all over the news. It would have been look what this video game is showing. And the
Yeah.
fact that I have not seen a single article talking about like Outlast 2 is a terrible game. I mean, I personally haven't seen anything. Um, that makes me happy that we're kind of it's a video game. Yes, I understand that like stuff that we don't find acceptable shouldn't be in there, but it makes for a more engaging game in my opinion because it
Yeah.
is as long as you're not the one doing it, you know what I mean? As long as you're not playing as like a KKK member, you're probably good to make the game.
Hmm.
Um, but it almost just makes because I like my games to have shock factor. That's what I like. I like to be like scared, not scared, but like in shock the entire time I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
I think that really makes for a good game, and that's kind of what I'm hoping this is gonna be.
Yeah. That I'll have to check that out.
Um,
But
it,
the
what was that?
I did look at the Far Cry. I know that's what we're talking about, but
Yep,
I like how it's going to be set in America because I've
yep.
never played Far Cry really, but I know that Far Cry 4 was like set somewhere else.
Far
It
Cry
seemed
4
like.
was Himalayas, and Far Cry 3 was actually the only game I have not beaten from Far Cry is actually Far Cry Primal, and
Okay.
I own it, so I probably should have beaten it by now. But it
So it's actually tomorrow is when that's coming out, isn't it? Not coming out, but like they're showing you like a preview of the game.
I believe
I think it's tomorrow. No, it's
so.
actually Friday. Friday.
Is
I'm
it
sorry.
Friday?
Yep.
And see, and that's it. I'm excited. I just hope they don't. I don't know. You said you haven't played any of them yet. So
Right.
my first game into the series was actually Far Cry 3, and that game, like I said, had shock factor. Um, you saw stuff, not brutal stuff, but it kind of kept you on your toes. And I liked that. I like games that aren't predictable the whole way through.
That's good. Yeah, that'd be. It looks really like I just watched like the little teasers they had for it on
Yep.
YouTube earlier, and it looks pretty cool. The graphics looked awesome. I mean, I know they usually do for teasers, but
Yeah.
it still looked pretty good.
Well,
And
because
Far Cry 4 looked great too. So
what it kind of looks like in the picture, and actually here I'll put it up on stream really quick. Let me make sure. Yeah, we should be good. Okay. So obviously in the picture, you can see down in the corner there's a guy with Sinner written on his back, so it implies like racial themes. I read someone say, I believe it's actually in this article further down, they do say that they kind of relate it to like the Last Supper, and like it's a different yeah, exactly, it's a different depiction of that. They look redneck. They all have like the Duck Dynasty beards and stuff like that. I do agree with that. There is something burning in the background. There is a flag that does not have American stars on it, but some kind of like cross. The dog has a cross on its forehead. I'm curious, to say the least. The fact that obviously it says, and I don't know if you looked up in the, I'm actually circling it right now, up in the left-hand corner, the symbol that is making up what should be stars on the American flag is actually on the flag up there. And I don't know. Let me switch back to the other camera. Now I'm curious. I almost bet.
church too.
Is it on the church too?
Mm-hmm.
I did not notice that. Yeah, I'm just now looking and I'm like, oh, it is. Let me look up the Montana state flag because now I'm actually curious. I just thought it was cool that it was in Montana. I really.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, yeah, that's nothing like the Montana state flag. Okay, well, I just want. Okay, but yeah, I just thought that was cool that it takes place in America, but it looks like you're somewhere where you're not going to be close to civilization anyways. Because I've always wondered how they do that. Because the reason they've always put it somewhere outside of the U.S. is because where in the U.S. are you really that far away from civilization? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Far Cry 3, you're on an island. In Far Cry 4, you're in the Himalayan mountains. Like, all of these places are disconnected from what we would consider like rural areas. So, all right, and the last one. I don't know if you saw this one. I didn't link it. That's called Lawbreakers. I know you're into competitive games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, all that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, I don't know if you've ever seen the game Brink.
No, I don't think I've seen that. But I did watch a trailer for it.
Okay, so Brink.
For Lawbreakers.
So Brink was, oh boy, let me actually, I'm gonna look this up because I'm curious exactly what year this came out. Because this game, the concept of it was amazing. The problem is the execution was god awful. Okay. So Brink video game. It was released in 2011.
Okay.
The game was good. But it wasn't really replayable. It was kind of like where, you remember in the original Titanfall how the campaign was pretty much just to get you ready for the multiplayer?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what the campaign was. And the multiplayer was fun. There was a lot of like parkour elements in it and stuff like that. That's kind of what this reminds me of, except I don't know how to explain it, but I'm nervous because it looks like it has the potential to be an amazing game, but it just doesn't. I'm nervous to trust games nowadays.
Right.
So many games. I mean, you hear about them, and it's like you get all pumped, and you get trailers and all that, and then it comes out, and it's just shit.
Yeah, that's how most of them are. That's why I'm kind of, even go back to that Call of Duty deal. I'm worried about it too.
I'm honestly worried about any game nowadays. I'm trying to think of what the last game I bought was. It was actually, I actually just bought Forza too, but I before that, and in any car game for me is kind of a safe bet because you can't really. I shouldn't say you can't make a bad car game, but it's harder to make a bad car game. So Forza was a safe bet for me. I believe Mass Effect 4 was the last game I bought before that. I believe. Or Mass Effect Andromeda. And that game, I still have not beat it. Not because it wasn't good or anything, but just because the amount of time I feel like I have to put into a game like that is just insane. And so I do play it every once in a while, but it's not something that I'm going to beat anytime soon.
Yeah, that's how I am. Nowadays I don't have enough time to, play a campaign. I've got to just play multiplayer games mainly because I just don't have the time, and I still not enough time, but
and
it is what it is.
And you're first and foremost a streamer. My problem is and honestly, I used to do live streaming on Twitch. It wasn't bad, but I just felt like I feel like to be a live streamer, especially on Twitch, you've got to have some kind of schedule. Like when you're just random and you're on and off, it doesn't work out as good. And at the time, I was pretty much like I had no set schedule, and I had no real free time either. So
yeah. I'm the same way. When I started this YouTube thing, I thought I was just going to be uploading videos, and I run out of time, so I'm like, streaming's like I can't. Will be better, I guess, than recording.
No,
for 2 hours and
I've got you
cutting it down.
I've got you completely because believe me, it's like, and honestly, for gaming, I see streaming as the future of gaming. I don't see as many people. Like obviously, like you've got PewDiePie that used to do the gameplay videos. People like Markiplier. I don't see as many people flocking to that as I used to, because making a Let's Play series used to be a bigger thing. I feel like live streaming is where gaming is going.
Yeah, I kind of like what this guy named Gold Glove does. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he plays mainly that H1Z1 and Battlegrounds and all that. But I think what he does is good. He's got 1 million followers on here, or subscribers. But then on Twitch, he's way up there. He's like one of the top Twitch guys. But he'll stream his Twitch and then he'll record all that and make a video.
See it.
So.
And honestly, the format lends itself better to gaming. When I used to make my gameplay videos, which is what this channel used to be for me, it was stressful. I mean, to sit down when you're live streaming, you sit down, you start recording. You don't have a time limit. You know what I mean? Like when you need to go do something else is when your time limit ends. You don't have to worry about editing. You don't have to worry about anything else. You literally just get on, turn on your camera, start the live stream, start talking to people. That's it. And that for gaming is, like I said, what I think is going to be the next thing. And honestly, it already is the next thing. But it's like, how many people do you know that do gaming channels are right now getting popular on YouTube? Either you're already popular from doing gameplay on YouTube, or you're not going to, because video gameplay isn't where it is anymore. Like what you're doing, that's kind of where it's going, I think. And like what you're doing with your side videos, that is great too, because my problem is that eventually I start to, and I actually have a Google document with like a list of, actually I'll go back and look at it. I'm actually curious how many I have on there. So whenever I think of a video idea, I write it up, and that's where it goes. I believe I have 27 ideas right now. So that's 27 Fridays worth of videos, and it's just like, it's so much easier for me to do videos because live streaming games was just not for me. I didn't want to live stream, but I also didn't want to record games. So it was like when I started to get into tech, that's kind of when I hit my stride with it. It was
Yeah. That's, I'm in the same boat. Like I don't like it really very much here lately, at least.
well,
I started streaming mainly because when me and my buddies were playing H1Z1, I wanted him to see the replay, of me,
Yeah.
so he could see where I was at and all that.
I
That's
gotcha.
it.
But see, it's kind of weird to think, but honestly, the number of people that just start out for weird reasons like that, like the whole reason that I got into tech was because I had a pre-built and I found Jay's 2 Cents channel, and it really sparked my. I mean, I've always loved technology, but like computer building and all that stuff, I knew nothing about. And that's what started it all. And actually now I'm going to be going to college for IT, and then after that hardware engineering. So it's like, okay, like this seeing one video kind of changed where I was going.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes.
Yeah, see, same thing with me. Like I had a computer, and it was just like a store bought, like
Yeah.
HP, and I wanted to get an Elgato capture card, so I put that in there, and then it got to where maybe I should try playing some PC games, and then I bought that graphics card for it, and then now I've just ended up buying a whole, buying all sorts of different parts and built a new one. And
But
it started with watching videos. Like I watched his and Barnacle
yeah.
and all of them.
But now here's the problem. So there's people that ask for help if they don't understand stuff, and that I can appreciate that. Okay, if you don't know how to do something, ask for help. But then you have people like, and I know he's not going to watch this. I can almost guarantee it. My cousin Lucas actually built his computer, I think, right after I got my pre-built, because we both had pre-built. My pre-built was better, and he had bought his from Best Buy, so he way overpaid. Don't ever buy. The only thing I've ever bought from Best Buy that was expensive like that was actually a laptop, and it was because they had a sale on it.
Yeah.
But he ended up building his own computer, and I don't know if you know anything about like the older AMD chips, but the 9590, where
The one that runs at
Yeah.
220 watts or something.
yeah, they just kept like adding cores and adding voltage, and it comes stock out of the box 4.7 gigahertz. Okay, so I mean this
Crazy.
thing is a monster, but that only helps you if you can cool that. You know what I mean? And he kept coming to me. He's like, my computer's locking up. And I kept telling him, I was like, it's your processor. It's your processor. Get better cooling. He had an AIO that was a single 120. And it was just roasting itself alive. He had a 980 Ti in there and then a 9590. And I was like, who helped you pick your parts? Because I told him, I was like, I've been doing research. I haven't bought my stuff yet, but if you need help, let me know. And he's like, yeah, I got it. I'm having my friend help me. Whoever his friend that helped him build that machine probably should have been shot, because it was bad.
Yeah.
And they put it in the, I don't know if you know the NZXT Phantom. I love NZXT, but the Phantom is not a good case for any sort of like liquid cooling. That it's basically all single 120 millimeter fan slots. That's it. There's no room for a 140 or even a 140 or a 280 or 240 actually. So but it's, and he just got it fixed, and I asked him, I said, well, how'd you fix it? And he's like, well, I downclocked it. And I'm like, you're getting rid of performance that you paid for. He's like, yeah, but it's not overheating anymore. It only goes up to 50 degrees now. I'm like, all right, whatever. whatever makes you happy. But yeah. And actually, there's a channel I want you to check out. I'm going to tell you after the stream because I don't want to give it any more attention than it needs. It is actually a channel that I know for a fact is botting subs, and it upset me a little bit more than it should have, just for the fact that I've watched 2 of his videos, and in both of them he talks like someone that had earned those subs. And you go back and look at the numbers, and you don't gain this many subscribers. Like, he's at like 738 subscribers. You don't jump from like 20 or 30 subscribers all the way up to 700 when you're gaining like a subscriber a week, and then suddenly in a week you up to 730. That's not.
Yeah.
That's that you don't get that kind of growth. And then if you watch, literally the growth just goes up and then it just plateaus and stops. And I was like, okay.
I'm sure he doesn't have very many views on each video either.
Exactly, and that's the other thing. I've always found it funny when I learned how to kind of see that stuff, and then you start looking and you're like, okay, this channel has 9,000 subscribers, and they've only got like 200 views on each video. You're like, okay, something's not right here. And obviously, when you're the smaller guy like us, you have what, 45 subscribers, and I have 40.
Yeah,
and
like a lot of them are my like buddies. So
see, I've never.
They don't even count because they don't watch.
I don't tell anybody about the YouTube channel. I think there's one person that I work with that knows about my YouTube channel. I don't tell people about the YouTube channel because one, it makes me feel weird. And if it was friends, it'd make me feel different. But I actually had someone that I did computer work for posted on Facebook, and obviously all my friends and family are on Facebook. And a bunch of friends and family liked the post, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, no, please. And it was just like, okay.
I'm kind of the same way.
Well, it's not that I don't want them to know what I do. It's just that like when friends and family see that kind of stuff, they start to try to talk to you about it, and it's like, okay, this is like my hobby / like what I do for fun, and like, it just. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I work with my cousin at work, and he has no idea that I do, and he's like a gamer too. Exactly. He has no idea I do this.
Well, and a lot of people. So nowadays, it's like, I don't want to say it's something that. It's weird because if you make money off YouTube, it's now being seen as an actual job. But when you're smaller, it's almost like people see it as, I don't want to say something weird, but like. People make it weird, you know what I mean? Like, one of my, and I actually, you know what, this is at the very end of the video, I doubt he's gonna watch it. Like I said, one of my bosses at work actually does watch this, or he is subscribed to me, and he stops into the live streams once in a while, but it makes it weird for me because I'm like, okay, like today, they called me and asked me if I could come into work. Because somebody called in, and I already knew I had this going on, but I was also not in town. So I'm like, okay, but now if he comes in here and he's like, okay, you said you were out of town, but now you're live streaming. Like, what's going on? I don't like having personal connections on my YouTube channel, and that's kind of just for the fact that. So my boss is on here. He can be like, okay, well, you're sick today. Why'd you put up a video? Well, I already had that video scheduled. So, I mean, what the fuck do you want me to do? But
that's why I don't put my Facebook on here, because everyone has Facebook, and I work with a bunch of older guys. They don't have Instagram or Twitter or anything like that.
No.
So they don't have a clue.
It's kind of weird because I completely forgot that my Twitter, or no, is it my Instagram? One of the two is actually linked to an email that is linked to a lot of people that I know, and so it always pops up in the suggestions like, this person that you went to high school with, like, do you want to add them? And I'm like, fuck no. I'm like, and don't tell them that they should add me, please. I'm like, I don't want any more attention on this channel than not that the attention is a bad thing. It's just that I want to build an audience of people that find my stuff and not just
right.
And it's hard because people are like, okay, like well, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, well, I game sometimes, and like I do tech stuff. And they're like, oh, you should make videos. And I'm like, I already make videos. I'm like, this is really awkward, and I don't want to tell you that.
No.
Yeah, but so we are about to wrap up. Actually, we're 15 minutes over, and I'm sure you need to get going.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Uh,
It's about time to eat for me.
Hey, I actually already ate, but I feel like there's some leftovers in the fridge that I could chow down on. So, is there any final thoughts you'd like to tell the audience?
Now, hopefully you'll let me come back again. Maybe we can get the video working. And
I was gonna say next time we'll do setup. Next week it should be. It actually might be Friday. No, I think I have Wednesday off again next week. I'll let you know ahead of time.
okay, well I'll be prepared on time next time.
hey, you're all good. But we'll figure out the video thing. It might be an update with OBS. I'll get it all figured out. But anyways, I think this went really well. It works better when you have someone to kind of talk to instead of just talking to yourself. Especially when, and I know as a streamer you understand that like when you see like no one's watching, it's kind of hard to have that banter.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
All right, but yeah,
I give you props. You carry it on. I can't do it. I just sit there and start playing the game.
Hey, that was my problem with game streaming was because I was like just rambling because I start talking and then I just go and go and go and go. I mean, if you saw the stuff that I cut out of some of my videos, like it makes it funny for me because I go back through and I watch that afterwards and I'm like, why did I say that shit? Like what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. So definitely check out Chad's channel. I know you haven't been putting up any content recently, but it's easy to understand.
I'm gonna come back strong.
Yeah,
I'll try to.
You get busy, and I understand because I've actually had a couple times recently where I'm like, okay, do I really want to work on a video today? And I actually am supposed to be recording tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely check out Chad's channel. Check out both of our Instagrams, both of our Twitters. And yeah, we'll see you next time. And I'll probably have Chad back on unless Tim ends up wanting to be on. So, but I'll let you know ahead of time about that. Okay, Chad?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for joining me, man.
Later.
Later.